It's been an exceptional dialogue so far, and now we're going to look at innovative projects, and we're going to hear about the innovative projects grant recipients. And to facilitate our next panel, we have Dr. Mark Harris, who's the Vice President of Finance and Administration here at Mercer County Community College. He's an experienced Chief Financial Officer with a demonstrated history of working in the higher education industry, a project management professional with strong analytical skills. He has experience in working with nonprofit organizations, budgeting, oil and gas industrial services, merger and acquisitions, and financial services. It is my pleasure to introduce Mark, who will introduce the panel. Thank you.
Good morning. Let me take this opportunity to welcome you to Mercer County Community College, as we dub it the best community college, not only in New Jersey, but in the entire U.S. So, in addition to being the Vice President for Finance and Administration, I also have the privilege of serving as a chairperson for what Mercer County Community College established approximately 2 years ago as a Planning and Budget Committee. Internally, everyone knows that as the PBC. So this committee was established in support of our 2016-2021 strategic plan, specifically charged with ensuring a transparent and inclusive and fair process of funding innovative projects that would support our college-wide efforts toward reaching Mercer County Community College's aspirational goals. The strategic fund follows a competitive process to provide funding not only to faculty, staff, but also administrators to help them plan and implement new and creative initiatives that will enhance the education of our students, increase partnerships, and support professional effectiveness. The strategic fund was thought as being similar to research and development, but seeing that we're a nonprofit, we consider it as innovative grants. So the PBC invited faculty, staff, and administrators to submit proposals for funding of their innovative projects here at Mercer. So in considering who gets funding, certain priorities were given. One, they had to be focused on ensuring student success, expanding innovative partnerships, and improving organizational and professional effectiveness. So the approved projects also reflect student impact, measurable outcomes, sustainability, and collaboration, not only with faculty, but also with staff and administrators. Joining me this morning are 8 of Mercer's distinguished faculty and staff who have applied for and have been awarded funding in support of their strategic plan. So my panelists will include Dr. Holly Kaiser, who currently is the program coordinator for our physical therapy assistant program and also our clinical coordinator. Dr. Kaiser.
Thank you.
We have Dr. Jim Maccarelli, who is professor and coordinator for engineering, science, and civil engineering technology. Then we have Professor Richard Porter, who teaches mathematics. We have Professor Amy Rico, who is responsible for our horticulture program. We have Laura Sousa, who is professor for economics, global business, and management. We have Steve Voorhees, who is our assistant professor of television, digital media, and new media. And also not on stage with us, but sitting in the audience, our grants recipient, Charles Haas, who is our director for Testing and Learning Center, and also Patrick Natali, who is our Science and Learning Coordinator. So welcome. So as the chair for the PBC, I've also had the distinct privilege of listening to, reviewing, and asking some very descriptive questions relating to the goals and objectives of the panelists' proposal. And I've also had the privilege of notifying them that the grants were approved as well. So at this point, I'm going to invite the panelists to share with the audience a little bit about their grants. So as they discuss their grants, they will talk about what the grant involved, how the grants were aligned with the college's strategic plans, the driver behind the ideas, as well as how the grant funding helped or will help in their objectives. So we're going to start with Dr. Holly Kaiser, who will describe to us about her grant proposal.
Thank you, Mark. Can you guys hear me? Okay. So our PTA program graduates students who are going to become licensed healthcare providers. And one of the important components of licensure is that our students have to pass a national board exam, which establishes a minimum level of competence, knowledge, and clinical decision-making skills. So my grant proposal sought funding for 3 things to help prepare our students to pass their national board exam. First was that we would host a weekend-long prep course provided by an outside vendor who specializes in preparing PT and PTA students to pass this high-stakes exam. The second was the purchase of 2 retired board exams from the same entity who administers the board exam, so that students have practice taking very long multiple-choice exams. Then they receive feedback with regards to their strengths and weaknesses so that they can better prepare for the actual board exam when it comes along. And the third thing was to purchase 3 or 4 iPads for our PTA lab. We have so many applications that are applicable to physical therapy, and most of our students have to prioritize just one if they can afford one app. They can't be buying all 30, 40, 50 apps. So we're going to put all of those apps on the iPad, and they'll be available, or iPads. They will be available in our lab so that students can utilize all of these additional tools to help them learn the material. All 3 of these proposals align with our strategic goal number 1, which is that we at Mercer County Community College ensure student success. And let's see, the results. Well, ultimately, we will be tracking our pass rate on our national board exam.
Thanks, Dr. Kaiser. Dr. Macarella?
So I coordinate engineering, and what we found is most students, the first 2 years of engineering, they're taking the heavy math and the science, and they kind of forget why they're in this field. It's not pleasant. So what we do is we try to remind them why engineering is great, because it is great. So what we did is we partnered with industry. We have a program, I guess you can see behind me. We have a program where we had students go to active construction sites every Wednesday, actually right at noon, every Wednesday today. We have guest speakers come in. We call it our Da Vinci Engineering Learning Community. So basically what we do is we motivate them why engineering is great. We go over everything from resumes, they'll talk about financial planning, we set up internship opportunities. We've had 48 companies in the past year and a half contact us to get interns, which is great, but we have 150 students, so we can do better with that. As far as what we found, when I was in school, I had a professor who used to always say, never miss an opportunity to collect data. So we collected our data, and we did some statistical analysis, and long story short, is students who participate in this program are more likely to do better, higher grade point average. They're 5 times more likely to be retained at school, to stay in school, and I think it's 4.9, almost 5 times more likely to graduate. Those results, we just found out, are will be published in a peer-reviewed paper, and we presented that at national and regional conferences. And just a half hour ago, I don't know if I told you, we just submitted a grant to the National Science Foundation, and we referenced this result in the grant proposal. So kind of everything's tied to one another. So, and as far as tying to our goals here at the college, it's all about why we're here, collaborating with industry. And we have partnerships with the American Society of Highway Engineers, the National Society of Professional Engineers. The president of that group is a Mercer graduate, and the American Society of Civil Engineers. So that has been very helpful. And the next steps are to continue. There's no reason to stop. We've had some success, so we hope to continue, and maybe instead of 48 internships, maybe we'll be able to get one, for all our students.
Thank you. Professor Porter?
Is this working? Okay. All right, so I'm Professor Porter. I teach math, everyone's favorite subject. I wish. Anyway, so what happened to me was, first of all, I used to work in industry, and my dad was an efficiency expert, if any of you know what that is. Now they call them industrial engineer, thank you. But I like to be very efficient. I don't like to waste time. And what happened was I was using a smart board where I was capturing notes and videotaping my class, and the smart board broke. And so I needed some redundancy. So I asked the college to provide me with the Surface Pro. And Oh, and it's working now. And so what I do is I can basically go on the fly. I can answer questions, I can adapt things, and I can have things captured as needed. So I'm hoping that this helps with retention. I do teach night classes for people who are working, and I record everything, so people sign up for the online classes as well. I'm very flexible that way, but also because I use so much technology in the classroom, I think they're also getting a lot of technology soft skills. You know, we talk about regular soft skills like how to behave in an interview and stuff, but by using all this technology, they get a lot of their, you know, they realize people can hear what they say. They realize that things are being recorded forever, so they're actually doing much better. But anyway, I thought I would just ask. These are some of the innovations that I have, and I do online and synchronous work. They can work from home in a way. I haven't missed any classes this semester because I meet with them. Snow days, I meet at home. They stay at home. I record the lectures and notes. They can't make it. They're on the side of the road. They can watch them later. They can participate from their phones. I showed them all types of technology and hope that they're better, employees for you guys. Also, in my class, I require collaborations. So even if the students aren't there, because some of them are on the side of the road, they can still work with their teams, and they produce a big in the class. They produce a big project, and they will do their own independent research project. That's for the pre-calculus and calculus classes. But anyway, I could get up and walk around if you guys had any more to say, but I'll let my panelists take the rest of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Amy Rico. I run the horticulture program here on campus. For the past 6 years, we've been major exhibitors at the Philadelphia Flower Show. I think it was in year 4 is the year that we did our proposal for our grant here on campus. The reason why we did it was because being a part of the flower show, we felt like for horticulture was a really great experience, and we wanted to be able to incorporate other programs into that experience as well. So the year before we did the grant, we worked with the Graphic Design Club, and they did some basic signage for us for our education component. And what we wanted to do with the grant is we wanted to expand upon that and be able to do more. So the year that we did the grant, we worked again with the graphic design department and the students in the club, and they did more for our education signage. Our theme that year, and the theme for the show, was Holland. Our display theme was postcards from Holland. So students on campus designed postcards with original artwork that we gave out at the show. We also collaborated with the television program, and Steve at the table with me, and we had a student that produced a 2-minute educational video with us that we played in our display. And we just felt like it was a great experience for everybody involved because they got real world experience, that they worked with a client. We had production times, we had deadlines, and we had an audience of at least 250,000 people that come through the flower show. The end result for us was that year we scored a 98 out of 100, and we earned a gold medal. So we felt like we were tremendously successful that year, and we've carried it on since then for the past 2 years. The graphic design students still are helping us with it. Last year we had a TV display. This year we opted not to because we went in a different direction. But the grants allowed us to collaborate with other individuals on campus, but it also gave us the funding that we needed to do that collaboration. I always tell people when I talk about the flower show, like, I know about plants, you learn about different things, but when I get to collaborate with my colleagues, I get to learn about television and graphic design, and I go to the convention center in Philly, and I get to learn about electrical and rigging and all these things I never thought I would learn about. So I think it's been a great experience for all of us all around.
Thanks, Professor. Professor Sousa?
Hello, so I am Laura Sousa. Can everybody hear me? Okay. I coordinate the business administration program here at Mercer. And when I was going with my own children about 6 years ago to look at colleges, I was able to compare the 4-year schools and the programs that they have to what we have here at Mercer for business. And what I noticed when I was going through the different campuses all over the country, there was a similarity between all the schools. Not just with the business programs, but all the programs that I saw. There were spaces that were on campus where students of a specific major could get together, collaborate, talk, but those spaces created community. They created a community within the discipline. And what I noticed specifically when I kind of veered off to the business aspect of the campus, because of course my kids wanted nothing to do with business. We were touring everything but business. So I snuck off, looked at the business schools, and at every business school they had a room, traditionally has a ticker tape, you know, the electronic ticker tape that was running around the room. A lot of them had Bloomberg terminals. And so I looked at those spaces and I said, that's really a connection of the students to the outside environment. So kind of taking those two ideas, I thought about this and I came back and I said, you know, the mission at Mercer is to provide affordable quality education. And I truly believe that. We have a very rigorous business administration program, about 650 students who transfer. But we also have a responsibility, and I look to people who coordinate a program, to make sure that that education is not only affordable and opens up access, but it's equitable. And so I started to compare and I said, how can we make the 2-year experience look like a 4-year experience for these students? So taking what I saw on those campuses, you know, in regards to the spaces, we created through the grant this collaboration room that you see over here. So we proposed that we needed a space. It started out for business students, but we expanded so it's open to all business and STEM majors. And the room is open while the campus is open. What you don't see here in this room are the computers on the side. There's a couch there as well. But the TVs were placed there particularly for a reason. So we don't need the ticker tape. We can't really afford that nice, pretty ticker tape, but we do have continual streams of business-related programs that are running all the time. So the room is filled. I know you don't see students in there right now, but anytime you walk by, that room is filled. So we certainly feel it's been successful. And what I really loved about it was that, you know, my intent was for the business majors, but most of the time I see a lot of computer science majors in there. They're collaborating on projects. So the room has helped to give that sense of community to not only just the business students, but the other majors as well.
Thanks, Professor Sousa. Professor Voorhees.
Thank you. I'm Steve Voorhees from Television and Digital Film, and we have a studio space that we're very fortunate to have here at the college. It's a nice large space, but it's empty other than the technological equipment. And when we sort of looked at student programming and the shows that we were doing, having makeshift sets, it just didn't look professional. And one thing that students need on their demo reels when they apply for industry jobs is a professional aesthetic. It also helps the branding of the college, our community partnerships. And I can agree with Jim that engineering is great, because when I first attempted to solve this problem, I decided I was going to build the set myself. And I am not an engineer, and having one would have been great. So we decided that we had to go in a different direction. And fortunately, this innovation grant has given us the opportunity to do that. So we're very fortunate. And I'm currently I think we are the most recent recipient of this grant, because we're currently in this academic year going through this process of building the set. And so we were very professional, or very lucky to get a professional to design the set for us. It's a very flexible space. This is a 3D rendering of what we're currently beginning a process for in our television studio that can be used in a number of ways. And what we're really looking for is student retention. So our goals with this is not only to have our current students invested in what we call open lab time. This is outside of class, to have students that want to produce programming. We've had that need, but without a nice aesthetic. They'll go through, they'll do all the technological things correct, but it just looks like a college production, if you sort of know what I'm talking about. And we wanted to get away from that stereotype. Additionally, this is a space that we hope that our public relations department will be able to use for on-campus filming, community partnerships. We've also been in touch with high school athletic directors and high school academic coaches, or what you call guidance counselors, for quiz bowls, and to be able to invite high schools into here, that our students can produce programming that will help them with their SATs, and at the same time, while we're benefiting those students, our students are benefiting from running a weekly programming show. And then the final thing is, if you have been on social media, video is ubiquitous. You have to have aesthetic nowadays, that looks professional and gets people to stop in their news feeds. So our new media students will be using this set and using this space to hopefully produce some great things for social media, YouTube, Vimeo, that's going to also help with our marketing and their social media strategic plan. So for us, this really touches upon many of the strategic goals of the college, from ensuring student success, retention, recruitment, and then also expanding innovative partnerships that we're hoping the community will be able to use this space as well. So thank you.
Thanks, Professor Voorhees. Then we're going to have Charles Haas and Patrick Natali talk to us about their project.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Very nice to be here. I'm Charles Haas. I'm the director of the Testing and Learning Center.
Charles, please stand up.
Stand up? Okay. Oh, that's much better. Don't have to use my teacher voice. Okay, so I'm Charles Haas. I'm the director of the Testing and Learning Centers here at Mercer County Community College. And this is Patrick Natali. He's a TA in the biology department, and he coordinates the Science and Learning Center on this campus. And in 2013, he actually started at the Science and Learning Center in a small little closet, right, Patrick? So, little storage space. And since I've been here, I've helped him to grow it. We have an excellent interdepartmental partnership going on between our departments. And a couple years ago, we decided we needed to go in a different direction for staffing, something that would be better for the students and better for the center, because as we all know, funding is limited and it can be very difficult. So we decided to do a peer tutoring fellowship program. We hired 3 peer tutors to basically put in 14 hours a week in the center, and they each led a study group. And we also took them on a trip to the Academy of Natural Sciences in Philadelphia, and we got them a behind-the-scenes tour so they could get to explore some of the stuff with what's going on with science and with science education. We also got them honor cords for graduation, and the whole purpose, we did have slides, but we're used to being the forgotten redheaded stepchildren. So pretty much the purpose was a simplified pay structure, full and consistent coverage, less paperwork, which is sometimes bureaucracy and red tape can be a little difficult, and an enhanced student experience for both the students who were visiting the center for tutoring and the students who were peer tutors and were interested in science education. Obviously, our main goal, main college strategic goal, student success, obviously. And so pretend like we had a really nice PowerPoint, because we actually did. Nice pictures, too. And I'll let Patrick tell you about his butterfly picture.
One of the coolest things about it was, peer tutors provide for the peer tutors, first of all, they took the classes that they were going to tutor just a year earlier, and it's easy to sort of let that knowledge slip or not feel like you really have command over it. So we provided them mentorship, and we also provided them training, and then here it is, they sit down and they're actually the ones tutoring it, and they realize they do have a command of the topic, and the topic kind of sticks with them, because once you teach something, it's sort of embedded in your soul at that point. And then the other great thing is the students that were needing help in these courses, and we're talking, if you've ever taken a Bio 101 course or a Chem 101 course, you really, when you start these courses, you're not even sure that you can do this. The STEM path is a difficult one, so then to have them go to, as instructors we say, go see the tutors, to have them walk into the tutor center and then sit down and then realize their tutor took the course a year ago and they were successful in the course, and that they actually can do it. They could see themselves being that tutor on the other side. To me, that was like the biggest victory. It helped to build this community feel that sometimes you don't necessarily get at a commuter college. All right. Cool. That's it.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for the insightful information provided. So what is the next step in your innovation project? Dr. Kaiser?
Thank you for asking that question, Mark. To ensure that our grant proposal is sustainable, we've analyzed our course fees associated with our courses, and we're going to make sure that the course fees fund the continuing use of an outside workshop and purchase of our retired board exams so that all future students can benefit from this as well. But before I pass the mic on, I just want to mention that as educators, to ensure that our program's curriculum is current and relevant, which enables us to graduate students who have current and relevant skills for employers, we are active members in our professional associations. We attend national and state conferences all the time. We partner with other educators and other colleges and universities in New Jersey and nearby states. We read publications and peer-reviewed journals in all aspects of our practice. We publish in peer-reviewed journals. We attend far more continuing education courses than are necessary or required of us. We visit our employers, employers of our graduates. We visit sites where there are industries that we teach. We engage in discussions with students, graduates, and employers. We all utilize advisory panels, so we have people of industry come in and provide guidance to help us grow and remain current. We ensure that programs meet all standards set forth by external accreditors. We act as consultants, and we maintain employment in our respective fields, and the list goes on and on and on. So we ensure that we are competent and current in our role as faculty. It's an ongoing process, and I assure you that every Mercer faculty prioritizes that. We value your input, we value collaboration, and we hope to develop new partnerships going forward. Thank you.
Thanks. Dr. McDermott?
Note to self, don't follow Holly next time. In our program, we introduce students, like I said, to these folks in industry, these organizations. So then we thought, well, let's start student chapters of those organizations on campus. And we're pleased to say that we have the first community college chapter of the American Society of Highway Engineers in the country. So we're very fortunate with that. But we can't stop there. We're hoping to have student chapters of a few more organizations. And I know that one of the things we did most recently, thanks to the administration, was we had an issue with drainage here on campus, and our students were looking for something to do, so they went out and they surveyed the area, and they, long story short, they fixed the drainage problem. And it was a small problem, but it was perfect size for our students. And it was that organization, that student chapter that I mentioned, that did that. So we hope to continue that kind of thing.
Okay. What I wanted to say as an addendum, where are we going from here? I don't know if you knew this, but this is actually a live slide. I can edit this. I can add to it. But I'm using the Zoom's meeting software. So you see the slide there? There's the video of me, and there's the video of you coming from the back. And what I hope to get from this moving forward is, I know my students are remote. I know they've got lives. I teach 9 classes, so they're all working now. I was going to have some students on there, but they were like, no. But you get the idea. What I think what this does, and moving forward, is this little device allows me to make the community college more of a community. You don't have to be here to be here. You can have friends in classes now, and you can talk to them, and you can still be watching your kids at home or doing your job at work. So that's where I'm going with this. Thank you.
When I did my little presentation, I mentioned that we've been doing the flower show for 6 years, and our grant happened in year 4. So we are continuing with our project. I'm happy to say that the project is now being funded in part by the college. So because we were successful with our grant proposal, we are now incorporated into the budget because the college sees the value in the work that we're doing and this experience that it gives the students. They get the experience doing the display, but I didn't mention when you're down at the convention center for a week building the display, you're doing this in and around industry professionals that are at the top of their field. And you're building a display as a community college right next to other universities. We're the only community college that participates and competes. So we've been able to build this into the budget, which then allows us to continue with the project. Otherwise, if it wasn't built into the budget and we didn't get a grant, it would be really difficult for us to continue with this. We get a stipend from the Pennsylvania Horticultural Society, but it doesn't cover what we need in order to be successful and involve other programs and pull this display off.
So since my project was a physical project, it was done, but the idea of having a collaboration room really takes that word collaboration, means we have to continue with that. So what we've been doing in the business education field is something that I've been particularly interested in. So over the last year, I've been looking at the impact of globalization and what does that mean for undergraduate business education? What are the skills that industry is looking for? How do we best equip our students with those skills? So those of you who are in industry, you know what I'm talking about: adaptability, collaboration, cross-cultural literacy, things like that. And so we have been trying to bring experiential learning more into the classroom. So that's kind of stage 2 within the business education environment. And so I'm going to use this opportunity to kind of put in a shameless plug, because we're always looking for speakers to come into our classrooms, to meet with our club, to engage in dialogue with the students about the importance of these skills. So while we're working on them in competition teams and things like that, we look to the business community to bring another way to bring the world to the students. So if anybody is interested, I'd love to chat with you after the session's over.
And for us, it's collaboration as well. We're still in the build process, but our next steps are already, the wheels are already in motion. We've secured a grant from Verizon that's actually going to pay for a part-time staff member that will be overseeing productions in our studio. And the interdisciplinary approach is something we really push for. And so just as we've gone to Amy for the flower show, we're going to be welcoming people into our studio, both community business partnerships, as well as other departments on campus that we can serve them, and as I said, public relations before. So for us, now we have a person in place that will be helping to do a lot of things out of class time. So the students will learn these procedures in class, but then you have to keep practicing it, and not just, it's almost like playing the piano. You take a piano lesson and you're going to understand the piano, but you're not going to be able to play it very well. And the same thing goes for television and film, that we hope with the students learn in class, they need to be doing extracurricular projects outside the class and on the weekends, and now we have a staff person to help facilitate that. So that's our next step.
One of the great things about the innovation grants, it lets us as staff kind of explore ideas that in a low stakes setting, right? Because you get this grant if it doesn't go well. But one of the great things is learning some stuff about how to make your idea go further. And a few things that came up during the project was simple logistics. Having the people getting tutored signing in, it sounds like it's nothing, but it's important to have them sign in so that we know how many people are utilizing the facility, and not interrupting the tutors that were actually doing the tutoring. So through that, the tutor said, hey, it's difficult for us to manage both sides, being able to talk about a complex chemistry problem, but also having the responsibility of going and having sign in or making sure this table's cleaned up or seeing what needs other people being tutors needed. So it led us to tapping a resource that we didn't even think of, which is federal work study students to be in charge of that aspect of the room while tutors can focus only on teaching. And then the other thing that we saw, hold on, I'm forgetting here, so that's okay. My thumb got me in. So and it also led, seeing the peer tutors, some other tutors were like, that's kind of neat. Some other students were like, that's kind of neat what they get to do. So we were approached by the Organic Chemistry Club, which is a club at the school, and they said, hey, we want to volunteer our time to help organic chemistry students in their first year of that organic chemistry. So we're now collaborating with school clubs. And I have another idea of what I want to take this in the future. I was thinking, we give scholarships to like a sports team. Someone's good at baseball, they get some money. So if someone shows real aptitude for tutoring, my idea is maybe there's a way we could get a scholarship for them to then pay for their schooling if they agree to tutor a certain amount of time. So we'll see where that goes. All right, thanks.
Thank you. I just wanted to expand it on, based on the project that Professor Sousa did, we took that idea and expanded it to our health science division as well. So they now have a collaboration room for the health science students. We have also looked at the liberal arts, and we implemented or put in place a writing center. So as we look at these ideas, we're scouring additional space on campus where we can put more collaborative spaces for our students. So I would like to say thank you to my panelists for sharing their ideas, and don't hesitate to come back if you have additional innovation projects that you want us to fund. So innovative projects require investment both in tangible and intangible assets, as well as in human capital. And even though innovation tends to occur in new areas of economic activity, in which the potential of a project can hardly be assessed by comparison with similar projects, our focus when we award or approve these innovation projects is to focus our assessment on our strategic goal. We measure success on fulfillment on one or more of the 3 strategic goals. So again, I would like to thank my panel for applying for the grants, but more importantly, for sharing your ideas. Thank you very much.